Welcome back to this episode of Houston is Inspired with your hosts, Savannah Jones and special guest star Marissa. So, the first half of the show today, we got to know Marissa a little bit more. We got to know who you are. I think we could definitely get a tone of power from you and from, motivation and perseverance. And I think it's really inspiring already. But I think there's more that we can share and get into a little bit deeper about the mental health side of things. I believe that you are an example of someone that has been working a lot through mental health. And I think a lot of people can be inspired from hearing your story.
Yeah.
And get in a little bit into the business that you had built with Chili and kind of introduce him to the audience and, introduce your story with that. And I just want you to take the floor and spill the cheese, my girl.
So I have struggled with mental health probably almost my entire life. I struggle with, my body as a woman. I'm not very tall. So obviously if I gain 5 pounds, you see it. So body dysmorphia has always been a huge thing for me. Even when I was bodybuilding, I was the thinnest in tone I've ever been. And even then I was like, yeah, you're still big. I was a size 8. And now I'm back in my 14s. Yeah. So, but it was just in my head. So I've always struggled with that. My childhood, I had some things happen to me that also, I struggled up into an adult. In my 20s, I had a really bad drinking problem that I couldn't get under control, but I kept it a secret because I knew if I let it out, my son's dad, he would never take my son away from me. We're great co-parents, but he would do it for the safety of my son. And I understand. So having a closeted drinking problem was very, very big for me. I dabbled into drugs a little bit. I used to do a lot of ecstasy. As a parent, you don't do those things. Never did it around him, but that was a secret life that I led just to kind of cope because I didn't get into therapy. I didn't want to get into therapy. I didn't want to be on, medication or anything like that. So I tried to self-help and self-medicate and it didn't work for me.
Oh, yeah.
But so Chili, I met him in 2020. We built our business for our Christmas lights. We started, very small. We grew, and then last year took a big hit. My mental health has not been great. He made a very bad decision in 2020 that he now has to pay for, so he's currently incarcerated. And that has taken a lot out of me. You build a life with somebody for 5 years, you have dinner together, you go to bed together, you wake up together. I brought him into my child's life, my family's life, and then now, he has to pay for it, which he takes full responsibility for what he did. But just having to rebuild life without your partner is very, very hard.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
I cannot imagine.
it's like the TikToks or like the memes and just small things like that,
Yeah.
I still haven't got myself into therapy, but I'm working on it. But I have the most amazing people in my life that don't let me go down a dark hole.
Absolutely.
So, because I have one very special friend who she's been my rock. Without her, I don't know what I would be doing. I know I'd be back into drinking. I know I'd be back into hard drugs. But she'll make sure I get out of the house, and she buys me presents. I just actually lost a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and she brought me flowers. She's just that special of a person. And so, we take care of each other with our mental health side. She struggles with some things, and I always make sure I'm there, for her. But I don't think mental illness is talked about a lot, or mental health is talked about a lot. Especially in my culture, Hispanics, everything's swept under the rug. You don't talk about it. You don't do anything about it. Nobody wants to hear your problems.
Yeah.
Or they think it's not a problem when it's a problem, And I always tell my son, I was like, look, if you ever struggle with a problem, please come talk to me. I was like, if you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to talk to Dad, call Miss Jenny. Call one of the boys at Mom's Lake. Call somebody. Like, my son just lost one of his friends to suicide.
Wow.
My son's 16. The boy he lost was also 16. The friend of mine that passed away, she struggled with cancer. And I think it was in high school, maybe right after we graduated, she was struggling and she tried to commit suicide. But it just wasn't her time to go. God gave her a full life. She got married, had kids. lived an amazing life, but it's something that you have to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially for men as well. Men don't get that.
No.
They don't get the support. They're not allowed to cry. They're not allowed to show their emotions. And
it's toxic masculinity.
Oh, absolutely.
Our ideas of what masculinity
and
is
it's really screwed up because we could have so many more men in this world that are amazing people if we just listen.
Right.
So,
I agree. It starts from childhood.
Absolutely.
It starts from the way that you raise them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a child. Do you feel like you raise your child to be more vocal about their mental health and to
Mm-hmm.
come to you and talk to you? Do you think that your experience of all the, the tragic things that have happened in your life, do you think that has influenced you as a mom and made you a better mom for your child?
Oh, absolutely. Me and my mom aren't so close. We don't have a terrible relationship, but we don't have the greatest relationship. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, all right, I'm not going to raise my child in any way that my mom raised us. And I've lived up to my word. I do everything different. I tell that kid minimum 20 times a day that I love him because I never want him to go a day not knowing that I don't love him. I never want him to feel that. So I'll text him, hey, love you, kid. He's like, I love you too. You good? I'm like, yeah, just want to tell you I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, come on with it.
Because you know how important it is to have that love and support from people around you.
Yeah. And I don't want him to be scared to talk to me because that's when, they start hiding things. If you want to do something, just come and talk to me. If you want to try something, come and talk to me. Because, he's 16. I was like, if you want to try a drink, come to me. Don't go out there and do it and then me risk losing you. Because we can't do this. Like, I can't live without him. I have to live without one person now. There's no reason for me.
Do you think that you try to educate your child more on the importance of being safe when it comes to drugs or alcohol?
Fun fact, his dad's a cop. So
wow, yeah, so that's definitely some polarizing. Yeah,
but I do. That. He's asked me if I've done certain drugs, and I'll be honest with him.
That's so important.
I was
to
like,
be honest with
your
children. Yeah,
I was like, I've done some heavy drugs. I've done some psychedelics. It is what it is. We're all we're young. Right. You get into it, but I don't want him to feel like he has to hide it. I want him to open up to me. If it's not me, please find somebody to open up to.
Because it's safer that way. If you're hiding it and you're sweeping things under the rug, how are you supposed to deal with it? How are you supposed to move past it?
Right.
And then it can get worse and worse and no one knows what's going wrong until it's too late.
And
you never want to wait until it's too late. For you, how do you feel that you have started to pull yourself out of a dark place like that into a better place? What was something that helped you to get out of doing those things, maybe go after some sobriety or, bettering your life? What led you to that?
Lately it's because I feel like I have so many people depending on me. I'm a people pleaser. I don't want to let down my brother. I don't want to let down my son. I don't want to let down my friends. So for me, and I don't want to let down Chili. He can't do anything, but he tells me, he's like, I need you to still live life like I was with you. Yeah. He's like, because I know how you get. I know that you're going to fall into a hole. But it's just the small things, every day it's like, hey, like you have to take a shower today. There's been times I've, called my best friend and I'm bawling. I was like, I just had to, small talk myself to taking a shower. Yeah. And she's like, it's okay. She's like, you did something. You got something accomplished today. So even if it's the most like minuscule thing, make it grand. Yeah. Because sometimes if the only thing you did was get out of bed, you did something great. That's an accomplishment. Absolutely.
Small steps.
Yeah, small steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now I try and think about how I was in the past because I also, I was a self-harmer. I used to cut myself. I haven't done that in a very long time. And so my son's dad, I met him in high school. And when he found out I was self-harming, he would give me random checks. And he's like, show me your arms. Because so I would show him. And then once he started doing that, I moved to my legs. And then he realized that.
Yeah, you found another way
and then I moved to my stomach. Yeah. So he was always, he still is to this day. I call him and be like, hey, I need you to come, pick up our kid because I'm not doing well. I'm struggling and I can't take care of him. He's 16 right now. He can do for himself, but I don't want him to see me fall into that hole. But calling a therapist is on my list. Thankfully, I work for a great company that they give us 5 free therapy sessions.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
And then we, our insurance kicks in after that. So I just need to find the right therapist because I do need it. Because
That's the first step, admitting that you need it and accepting help.
Absolutely. It actually hit me last week. My GM pulled me into the office because I've known him for a while. And he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was like, I'm good. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, you're not the same person. He's like, you fight with me all the time. You make snide comments when you don't need to. What the hell is going on?
See it on the outside, you know it's that bad.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he sat me down. He's like, you need to figure out what the hell's going on with you, and we need to fix it because I'm losing you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I understand.
This is it. Like, if someone else can see it, yes, I work with him every day, but for someone to care enough to sit me down and tell me that I'm going downhill, that's when it hit me. It was like, I got to get it together, or I don't want to lose my job. I love my job. And I don't want it to affect my job, and I don't want it to affect my livelihood because it has before. I want to be able to get out of bed. I want to be able to get dressed up and say yes to things like this and just, live life to the fullest without, my mental health hindering me. So getting help is definitely on my bingo card for this year by next week.
I think a lot of people can misconstrue this show, and they believe that this show was made only for people that own businesses or have high degrees, or maybe they model or act, or you have to be perfect to be on a show like this. But no, that's not why I made this show. I made this show to tell the different versions of success.
Everybody
and
has
the different roads to get there.
Yeah, everybody has a different walk in life.
Yes, you're an example of someone that has been through so much trial and tribulation that you even being here and sitting here and telling your story to the world today is a powerful message. Like, I think I have the chills right now, like, thinking about everything you've been through, and I just feel like that energy and that strength coming from you, and it comes from darkness. The beauty came out of the darkness, and you've grown as a person.
Plot twist, I had a podcast in like 2016.
Right.
I was just by myself. I was like, cool, I, need to find myself. I need to just get this all out. Because I was in church at the time, so I was like, all right, I was in church and therapy. I was like, bro, I'm healed. Like, I got this. Nope.
And it's not linear. Like I said earlier, it goes up and down. Like, there's times where you feel powerful and there's times where you don't. Yeah. And, it's never going to be perfect.
Oh, no. I always say to myself, because it sounds so silly, like, if your life is going perfect, you're not doing something right. Like, you should always have a small hiccup here and there.
Push yourself.
Yeah, so it can push you to be better, because if you just stay in one lane, you're not going to go anywhere.
You'll just be kind of just sitting stagnant. You're not growing in life. You're not pushing yourself and going through things and living life to the fullest.
Therapy is very scary, but it is so, so worth it. So worth it. I wish, our healthcare was better, that everybody could have access to, mental health.
Yeah.
And whatever they need. I really wish that we didn't have to jump through all these hoops, because if you don't have insurance, you're easily paying $100 to $200 to talk to somebody for 2 hours. Right. And we got bills to pay. We got $8 eggs to pay for and things like that. Like, we have more important things than that. I think that's why a lot of people don't pursue therapy, because it's expensive.
So, finishing out today, is there anything, short and sweet that you feel that you would like to tell the audience to close us out for this episode today?
You are worthy. You're important. Don't let anybody tell you anything different.
Absolutely. You're worthy. You're strong. And it's not going to be linear. It's not going to be perfect, but you'll find your way if you keep pushing yourself and living your life to the fullest, just like Marissa has. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to give you a hug because you are just a remarkable person, and I would love to have you on again sometime.
Absolutely. I'm always here to support you.
Absolutely. And that concludes our episode today. Thank you for watching Houston is Inspired. Bye, you guys.